There's been a feeling of doom and gloom after Eskom recently implemented load shedding. Despite a possible break this week, it would appear the rolling blackouts are still here to stay, in the medium term at least. Well, joining us this morning to share what families can do during blackouts. Has there been an upside? Well, should they come back, that is psychologist Jeremy Bayer. Jeremy, good morning. So you've been watching South Africans' behaviour, I suppose, during load shedding. And I suppose if you were that person who was positive, you'd look for the silver linings to this. So other than the frustration and the anger that we've seen, what are the positives that have come out of load shedding, especially for families and people in general?
Yeah, listen, this is not to condone it because it's a shocking situation. There's no doubt about that.
But you've got to find that silver lining.
That's right. So if there's opportunities to come out of this, couple that I've seen, firstly, to actually sit with your family and bond and actually talk, and because I've heard some sad things like, it's out of our comfort zone that we actually have to talk now.
Yeah.
So talking to each other, bonding, and let's say you have two children who are actually talking to each other, it actually decreases the chance of sibling rivalry and fighting, because the children are perceiving that they're both being listened to.
Yeah.
So it decreases the chance of that. That's the first thing. Then the mere fact that you're tackling tensions. Tackling tensions doesn't happen when you hide behind a cell phone or that type of thing. It happens when you actually confront and talk about things. So those are some good things. Then talking about issues that pertain to children, like the issues around cyberbullying and internet dangers. So just because we're in a different decade and fourth industrial revolution, it doesn't matter. A child is still a child. Okay? A child still has the emotions of a 13-year-old. So you still have to say to a child, if you wouldn't do something offline, you wouldn't do it online. Talk about things like dodgy emails and strangers bearing gifts on the internet, those types of things. So those are important conversations to have with your children. It's still important to do that. And then, of course, the most important thing, challenges your children might be having at school. They might be hiding behind a television screen and not talking about the fact that they're being bullied.
Not even know how to talk about it.
Not even knowing how to talk
about it.
So those are some important conversations that are needing to have, and those are some opportunities that can come out of this.
Well, I've just been reading on the front page here, I think it's the Star, and there's another dimension to this if we talk about anger and people trying to cope, is that generators seem to be causing some neighborly discord, if I were to put it that way. So let's talk about how people can navigate this, because like we say, it's still here. Don't get too comfortable this week. It may happen tomorrow morning. This evening might be a different story, despite what Eskom says. So what would be your advice to neighbours and people who have to deal with noise and fumes from generators?
Well, listen, in terms of noise and fumes, you can understand why people are doing this, why they're getting generators or inverters. You can understand that. I guess the best thing for neighbours to do is to do something that doesn't happen, is to actually talk to each other, because we live in pretty gated communities. So yes, listen, it can be a noise and an irritation. I do understand that, but I think for those neighbours to talk to each other and support each other through this, and to say, listen, we're all in the same boat together. So to keep supporting each other is probably the best way to go about it. I can understand where the frustration comes from. And that frustration can spill over into hostility, because there's a lot of people who are frustrated out there. So you can understand that, and there's a lot of anxiety and panic. And remember, people are stressed as it is. Okay, they've got stressful jobs. Sometimes they want to take work home and they can't do it because, obviously the lights are off. So they're stressed as it is. Now this happens, and then frustration spills over into aggression. So the best way to do it is to support each other and
try and share also. To offer a cup of tea, offer a boiled, some boiled, I don't know.
That type of thing. And the thing is,
stove to cook on.
This isn't happening regularly. Our neighbours don't talk to each other. I mean, you look at our suburbs: high walls, barbed wire fences.
We don't know each other.
Rottweilers in the front garden. So that's, I guess, the opportunity to come out of this. So there will be generators and inverters, but at least use this opportunity to do something that you aren't doing, which is to actually talk to each other, to talk to your neighbours, and most of all, active citizenry, which is a rare sight in South Africa.
Well, I see some very handy tips here, like things like meditate, I suppose, if you can. So use the opportunity to meditate without any distraction. Go towards the flame, I suppose, if you light your candle and do that. I suppose if you have one of those lights, those lamps, you can read a book. If you want to, the miner's hats, if you have the one that attaches to your forehead, you can still read. So there's lots of little things. You can even spring clean. That's been something. Clean your life out. Cover them your life.
I would say those are good things, but for me, the priority, without a doubt,
family time,
is, for example, Listen to your children. Don't judge your children. Maybe your children is holding back that they're gay or something like that. So don't judge them. Maybe this is an opportunity to talk about those types of things.
Those awkward conversations.
Those kind of conversations. Don't try and solve all of their problems, or don't try and lecture and talk too much to them. Maybe this is the time to actually listen.
Yeah.
Because as a parent, you don't know everything. There's an opportunity to actually do those types of things and listen to them.
Yeah, strange stories come out under the cover of darkness, don't they? People feel, I don't know, whether they feel a bit undercover, that they actually can say things they wouldn't say or be exposed in that way.
Now there's opportunity. And, you know, phrases from parents like, well, in my time we would have done this, so parents stuck in their own generation. Well, you've got to move. Yes, you've got to actually move on and realize, well, there's a different time. There's cyber issues and that type of thing. So you've got to connect with your child's issues.
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity to do that type of thing. And then the number one thing I hear in therapy the most is children witnessing parental fighting all the time. So now that might actually come out even more.
And load shedding is bound to bring up those stresses.
It's going to come out.
Yeah.
So it's going to create that even more. And that's a concern.
Okay, and then very quickly, I heard a very interesting discussion driving into work on radio where the host was talking this morning about just the stress of load shedding. Is it going to happen? Isn't it going to happen?
Yeah.
You're prepared, and come 4 o'clock, it's not there, so you get comfortable. Should I carry on with my life? Should I put that dinner in the oven? And then you go like 20 past 4 and boom, it's gone. So just to deal with, I mean, stress is a big thing and leads to many other illnesses. So when you have that kind of stress there where you don't know what's going to happen, you're in limbo, just tell us how to talk ourselves through that so we don't take it out on the rest of the family also.
Well, the first thing you've got to do is address your current mental state as it is anyway. If you're highly anxious, you're prone to panic and worry, this can exacerbate that. So this can be a time where it can trigger even a panic attack or worry or anxiety. So even more so to say, listen, am I managing myself? Am I going for, do I have an outlet? Am I going for walks? That type of thing. So even more so to address that. That's the first thing. And then second thing, just your temperament. You know, if you're prone to aggressive outbursts or hostility or that type of thing, to say, listen, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
So how can I control the controllables? What can I do to get myself through it? Whether it's talk to my family, make sure I've managed my day so I'm prepared for the night. Have we got food in place to prepare? That's the best advice I'd say, is to control the controllables.
What you can control.
What can I control to deal with the situation? So when the power failure happens, I've got things in place.
Okay, thanks very much, Psychologist Jeremy Bayer. Some sound advice there. So we're not out of the woods just yet when it comes to load shedding. So you might want to take those tips, put them at the back of your mind for if and when they do come back. And I'm sure they will be. We will have several more power cuts to come in the coming days and weeks. So well, let's check in.